I walked into the principal's office and I said to him, I think you really need to have another teacher in that classroom.
Hi guys, Matt LaMarsh here with Keller Williams First Atlanta. Hope you guys are doing well. If you have a business or a nonprofit that you'd like to see featured here, please feel free to give me a call at 678-687-4397 or shoot me an email to matt@mattlamarsh.com. Thanks so much.
I'm Irene Schweiger. I'm the Executive Director of Sandy Springs Education Force. And what we do is we create opportunities to educate, inspire, and prepare our Sandy Springs Public School students for a competitive world. Basically what we do is we support the schools in Sandy Springs by offering targeted supplemental programs that are designed so that all of our students graduate school, all of our students have an opportunity to be successful. We are very fortunate here in Sandy Springs. We have great administrators, including Mr. Blackwell, in all of our schools. We really do, and we have great teachers. We are very, very fortunate here in Sandy Springs. Well, we do have a group of students, over 50% of our students are economically disadvantaged in this city, in our schools, and they need some supplemental help. They may need a helping hand so that they can graduate and be successful. So basically, we work with our principals to identify what kinds of programs, what kinds of things would be best to help our students, because they know the culture of our schools, they know what their own school needs, and we try to kind of meet those needs. And I could say almost all of our programs come because they were initiated with input from our principals.
I am Lashonda Mills. I am the graduation coach here at Ridgeview, and I work with students, teachers, parents, the community, and what I try to do is expose our students to different experiences so that they are ready for college or their career path that they decide to take. I also do a lot of academic coaching with our students, so I spend a lot of times with our students.
Fantastic.
Okay, and I am Opie Blackwell. I'm the proud principal here at Ridgeview, the benefactor of SSEF's work, at least some of it. Mm-hmm. And I work with Dr. Mills, a graduation coach. So I'm the principal here, proud principal. And Ridgeview is, just to give you a little bit of a flavor, we're lots of things because we're an incredibly diverse school, but some of our claims to fame are that we're an international baccalaureate school. It's our framework for instruction, and we're really proud that this cluster of schools right here in Sandy Springs, including our elementary and high school, are the second only in the state cluster that has that international baccalaureate designation across all of our elementary to high school continuum. And so that means a lot for us, because when we have such a diverse population, we feel it's greatly important to help them see beyond this little bubble right here and have a worldview understanding. So that kind of informs the way that we instruct. We are also an AVID school here at Ridgeview, and that kind of informs 5 things that become really important to us instructionally, which is teaching our students skills in areas that we think will prepare them for those college opportunities or maybe their career paths, which are writing, teaching them how to inquire, collaborating, because their work world is no longer a singular activity for most of them, how to be organized both in their academics and then just their backpack life, and then reading skills. And we're really proud that we became a showcase school for that. We are a model for those instructional pillars across our state. And I'd be remiss if I didn't just mention that we're really proud that our staff and teachers have been working really hard here at Ridgeview in those areas, and they were recognized with the Georgia Lighthouse Schools to Watch Award, which is a national designation of middle school excellence. So we're pretty proud and are fortunate to get to work in a place like Sandy Springs, where I'll be honest with you, from a principal perspective, I've worked in other parts of Fulton County and elsewhere, and the support that we get for our schools it's unparalleled. Organizations primarily like SSEF just do not exist everywhere. And so for us to be able to, create that worldview that we want our kids to have and the experiences that they need, it's one thing to say that that's what you want. It's certainly another thing to be able to achieve it, and we wouldn't be able to do it if we didn't have such great community support like we do have in Sandy Springs.
Well, I can tell you I've lived in Sandy Springs over 30 years, I think. No, 34 years actually. And my children went to Sandy Springs Public Schools. They graduated from North Springs. I was always involved with the schools because when they were in kindergarten, actually how it started was they were in kindergarten, and I said, gee, there's a lot of students and only one teacher. This doesn't make any kind of sense. We need more teachers. So I walked into the principal's office and I said to him, I think you really need to have another teacher in that classroom. And he looked at me and he said, this is a list of the school board members. And that's how I started getting involved in this whole thing. That's the truth.
That's quite a trajectory there.
Yeah, right. I will never forget that.
Straight to the top.
I was like, oh, really? Yeah, okay, fine. But the point is that I found that it's really, really important to get involved and engaged in your kids' schools. It's very important for parents to get involved in their schools. And as I moved kind of, I guess, up the ladder or with my children and got involved in local school advisories and superintendents committees and community organizations, I realized the importance of a community, how a community could really help the students. So 10 years ago when they kind of reorganized this organization, they had asked me to be the executive director. Well, it was right up my alley because this is what I've always done and this is what I enjoy doing. And I know how you can really move a mountain when you bring everybody together. So when you can bring the city together with the schools, together with your business community and get your volunteers, and everybody's working in the same direction, you truly can move the mountain. It has been done again in Sandy Springs. So Sandy Springs worked very, very hard for years to become a city in 2005. Years. And basically what it took was everybody working together. I mean, the saying was, you're never going to be a city unless pigs fly, is what they told the first mayor, Mayor Columbus. And she was relentless. And she got us all behind her. We were all, we can do it, we can do it. I mean, she was like marching us all down the trail. And as a result, I think, to me, the culture of this city is this can-do attitude, and also one of collaboration. We're all in this together. It's just a very unique kind of culture that we have here. And in my world, in the nonprofit world, I can tell you that we all work together, and that is a really beautiful thing. We're all in the same sandbox. We all figure how can we work together to meet our mutual goals. And it's really that kind of an attitude. I think it began because of that can-do attitude and trying to create this city. So, but yeah, I love working here. It seems like it's a big city because we have 85,000 residents, but truly it's not. It's really not. We feel like we move as like a group, whether we do leadership or we do Sandy Springs Education Force, or we do the Civic Fund, or it just seems to me that we're a community that we really work together and collaborate, and that's what makes us special, very special here.
I have been a part of this community for about 6 years. I used to be the counselor over at Lake Forest Elementary School, which is one of the feeder schools. My daughter attends school there, and then my son, he attends Riverwood, which is also the feeder school for us. So we have been involved in the Sandy Springs community for about 6 years, and it has been great. We spent a lot of time here, whether it's during the week after school programs or the weekend. My daughter's involved with Sandy Springs Parks and Rec, so she gets her athletics in with them. She's also a part of the STEM program at Lake Forest, so she is involved with programs through Sandy Springs Education Force. And my son, he's in the orchestra, so we spend a great deal of time here, which also requires us to eat dinner in the area a lot. So we frequent Roasters, Napoli's, Sunflower, plenty of restaurants up and down Roswell Road. So we do spend a lot of time, and the people are pleasant, they're great. And we'll be here for some more time because my daughter, she doesn't want to go to the homeschool. She wants to continue on in this area. So
Of course
we'll
she
be
does.
here.
Excellent.
And Napoli is where we get our pizza.
Yes, we support Napoli's every month with our Link with the Leader program. So they help us out and they do good business with us.
Nice.
I have been, I guess in a couple of senses, I've been a resident of Sandy Springs for a while, sort of like Dr. Mills. You know, when you work in the schools, you give of your time of all hours. So, I mean, I worked at Riverwood International Charter School, which is the high school, for about 5 years before I came here to Ridgeview as principal. So I was part of that community for a long time. One of the fascinating things to me, I think it kind of fits with what Irene was saying about this community feel in Sandy Springs, even though, you know, we're very, very close to Atlanta. And it feels large, but you go to Riverwood on a Friday night, and it's kind of like small town, you know, Friday Night Lights. People from the neighborhood who may or may not have kids attending that school. They may have elementary school kids at High Point or Herds Ferry or Lake Forest, or they may have no kids at all at Ridgeview or Riverwood, anywhere, and they're coming to the football game, maybe doing a tailgate ahead of time, and coming to watch the team play on a Friday night. It's sort of a fascinating thing to me, not having grown up in that environment, and especially, you know, with like you said, how big Sandy Springs can feel. I didn't anticipate that, so I think that's really neat. So I was there for about 5 years as one of their assistant principals, and then I was fortunate enough to become principal here. When that happened, we made a decision as a family. Fortunately, we could, to move to Sandy Springs. So I have been a resident now for almost 3 years. And so I always kind of, you know, I think they think it's a joke, but I tell the community, you know, my investment in Ridgeview being good is I want it to be amazing for their kids right now. But selfishly, I need it to be really good for my daughter, who will be here in a good number of years. She's in pre-K at High Point Elementary, which is just down the road.
She's in pre-K already?
She's in pre-K,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, and if
How'd
you know,
that
I don't know, you blink and they grow up. Everyone says that, and
Jeez,
then
I can remember her in the stroller.
running that race for SSEF, I pushed her in that stroller, but. Yeah, so I live just down the road from this school, which is really nice for me because then I get to be at everything. And you know, from a neighborhood perspective, I think Sandy Springs is also really special, kind of in the same ways that you have Friday Night Lights at Riverwood. You know, in our neighborhood here near High Point, you know, the neighbors will all come down. Sometimes like for Halloween, and everybody will be at the end of their driveway and, you know, do a little trick-or-treat party for all the kids who come by, and you get to talk to your neighbors and, you know, say hello and all that kind of stuff. So I think it has a really nice community feel, and I think you said it right. You know, people are just together in whatever they do. So we really have enjoyed being part of the community, both as an employee and then moving here too.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the common threads that I'm discovering in doing this whole series is that it's the big city of, like you said, 80, 90, 100,000 people that feels like a small town. And there's these little pockets, you know, around the city. So that's interesting to hear that kind of underlying
We have
framework.
this road race that we have to, you know, one of our initiatives to support us, and that's called the Footprints for the Future Road Race, and we've had it every fall. And the coolest thing is, like you say, all the principals come out with all their kids, and the kids from the other school, and it's a very, very cool thing to see, because we're, as a community, we're, you know, everybody's out there running for the cause, running for the students, and everybody's all in. It's really all in, and that's how we get to meet the principals, and I mean, their students, their families, and everything, and they're all together. So it is very cool.
And you know, I think what's nice about that, Irene, is, you know, whether or not, you know, we live here in this community, I think it's important, that the community knows the school leaders. And so I think events like that SSEF puts on, I get to enjoy it every day. If I go to Publix, I see, 20 different families. But for those who don't live in the neighborhood, an event like that lets people see us out in the community and really does let them know in very visible ways that we're not just here for, the 8 to 4 schooling, and I do quotations because it's nothing like that.
I don't know. Is that?
Yeah. But we're not just here for that. We're here for whatever it takes to invest in our kids in all those different ways that will make them into good little human beings.
So how you can get involved with Sandy Springs Education Force, we have a number of different volunteer opportunities. As I said, we work with all the 11 schools, so there's 2 high schools, 2 middle, and 7 elementary schools. We do literacy programs, so if you particularly might be interested in reading to a student for a half an hour every day, every week, once a week. And Lashonda is familiar with that program where there are students that, that helps their reading levels, and we know how important that is. We have an opportunity to do book drives. We give away 14,000 books a year. Particularly, we have them in all of our schools, these little mini libraries where students can take one home and start their own home library. And so there's an opportunity to do that. We have mentoring opportunities where you can come in, and as Lashonda mentioned with the link with the leader, we have volunteers come in and talk to the students about their careers, how they got there, what challenges they had to overcome to get into that career, so that students could more relate to, I never even thought about this. If you see it, you can be it. So it's that kind of thing. We also have opportunities we focus very much on our STEM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math in STEAM. And so we have in all of the 11 schools and after-school programs in STEAM, and many times these teachers would love to have someone come in and talk to their students about these different fields, the technology, what's going on in the world today in their businesses, because that's how they can better relate to what the career goals are for their kids and how they can get there, the pathways they can get there at. So a number of different volunteer opportunities. Of course, we'd love to have anyone. They can call us. They can go on our website, which is www.sandyspringseducationforce.org, and a lot of information on all our different programs and volunteer opportunities. And of course, we'd love to have you donate to us, because that's how we fund our after-school programs. We have after-school programs, big, large one at Sandy Springs Middle School, another one at North Springs, and of course, funding would be great to help us to operate those programs.
Perfect. Very good.
So I think for us, how our community can kind of support Ridgeview is a couple of ways. So, number one, by supporting SSEF.
Oh, there you go.
Right? That in and of itself, all the things that Irene listed are huge supports to us. Because you take an example like Link with a Leader, that's one opportunity that we get consistently throughout the year to have somebody come here to Ridgeview and expose a group of our kids to some career that they might not know about. And like you said, if they can see it and envision it, then they may become that. So certainly that is one great opportunity. Our city is also great, like we said, about kind of those wraparound supports. So we annually get the gift of people's time through Volunteer for a Better Sandy Springs, which comes up every April. In fact, it's coming up soon, where community members can partner with that organization and then come here and do fun things like clean up the grounds or help us construct some picnic tables and just do some general kind of one-time efforts to help us clean up around all of the schools in Sandy Springs. And so that's a great opportunity. For us specifically at Ridgeview, though, we always need that community group or organization who's looking to take an additional step, beyond just the one-time kind of visit, much like SSEF has done, but additional opportunities for them to come in and do mentorship programs in the school for some of our kids who need a little more support. College and careers are always things that we need to show our kids more and more about. And those are things that it's hard to get our parents to come in and do because they're working. So those are great opportunities. And people who are interested in Ridgeview, I'd encourage them to go onto our website. It's the best one-stop shop you can get. It's ridgeviewcharterschool.org. And then on there, they can also, if they just kind of want to follow us and see what's going on at Ridgeview, they can see on there our Twitter presence and Facebook as well.
Perfect. Very good. Well, thank you guys so much. Great job.
Okay.
That was really well done.
Okay, good.
Yeah.